I look like I'm wearing a hat with my hair like this. Hi guys. So I don't really have anything in particular to say. One thing that I was thinking, and I was gonna make this a TikTok, but I guess I'll say it here, is I hate, and I feel like I've always grown up around people that make me feel so batshit crazy awful. Not that this is happening like right now. About like wanting to look decent when I leave the house. And it happened when I was in high school, it happened when I was younger, where like if somebody was like, oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna get breakfast, or we're gonna go run to CVS or something like that, and I would like, God forbid, brush my hair or like put on some lip gloss or something, it was always like, who are you trying to impress? Like, who do you think we're gonna see when we're out? And I've always hated that because, first of all, I'm a normal person. And growing up, I was very insecure. I think I'm still insecure about my looks a lot, and I would just rather look put together. But there was literally, like, that's just so annoying. Hanging out with people that say things like that, like, who are you trying to impress? Like, bitch, I'm just brushing my hair. I don't think I'm trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to not look awful when I leave the house. And also, I'm a firm believer in, like, you never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna run into. And I think you never wanna be in a position where you're like, I should have brushed my hair today. Why didn't I just like put some mascara on? Not that it has to be makeup related. If anything, I would say it's less makeup related and more just like popping in an earring or just like, you know, putting your hair up even in like a cutesy way. I don't know, always just bothered me. Anyways, hi, it's Kayla. I'm Kayla if you don't know who I am. I never make videos like this. Literally, like, do we live in the shower? So I'm living with my friend right now, Kevin, in LA, in Los Angeles. I never thought I would be here, living here at least. I never thought I would be an LA girl. I haven't signed a lease or anything. I don't live here completely. But I love this lighting. It reminds me of like early YouTube days. But I'm from Connecticut. I live in Connecticut typically. And I've been staying here with him for about 3 weeks, about a month or so, to do a little trial run because my beginning of 2022, girl, you know, we always think it's gonna be our year, right? And then that year happens and we're like, boy, was I wrong. And that's kind of what happened to me this year. Literally in January of this year, my world turned upside down and I was like living out of hotels for months. Well, actually, I should say my life turned upside down this time last year. You know what I think I'm gonna make? Some curry, some chicken curry. I reheated a burger and french fries from this really yummy place in LA called the Cloverfield, I believe. It was actually so delicious and the ambiance was beautiful. I'm gonna make some chicken curry though. But what was I saying? So around this time last year, around summer of last year, August 8th to be exact, it was actually the Lionsgate portal. That's like an astrological thing of 2021. I was like just starting to make astrology and tarot my full-time job, or like at least trying to take it a lot more seriously. And I was doing it for readings for people, but I was probably doing like 3 or 5 a week. Like, it certainly was not full-time income worthy, and like I wasn't making too much money. I also wasn't charging okay, it's not focused. Look at my nails. They're cute, right? Can't tell if this camera is good quality or bad quality. And they're gonna have a nip slip. Hi, we had to switch to my camera because my phone storage went out, and literally every time in my life, whenever I try to film something on my phone, the storage always runs out, and I'm like, is this the universe sabotaging me, or should I literally, for my greater good, not be posting myself talking on the internet? But what I was saying was, going back to the kitchen, when you first start like doing anything, I feel like as your own business, especially just when you're like my age and maybe have never had full success with something before, you doubt yourself and you limit yourself and you like typically charge less than what you should because you don't know any better and you like think you're not that good and you feel weird asking money for things. So that's kind of what I was dealing with. And I actually worked with, I was like, how am I gonna get this off the ground, right? Like I need to create some stability in my finances with this as a career if I want to take it seriously. And I was like, how do I legitimize this a little bit for myself? And I was like, okay, I know I have to work with influencers. So that's what I started doing. I was reaching out to influencers, and I was actually reaching out to businesses, companies that I wanted to work with that I thought could genuinely like benefit from the advantages that astrology can give you. None of them answered, of course. Maybe a few people answered, but like nobody was like, we're ready to pay you, bitch. And that's like what my main objective was. Hold on, I literally, I'm so confused. See, I'm always paranoid too that someone's trying to fucking kill me. Anyway, I wonder if that happened to me in a past life, because it's a genuine fear of mine for no reason at all. But I was reaching out to influencers, and I reached out to Teffy on TikTok. Hello, Teffy. People either don't know who she is or they're fucking obsessed with her. When I mention her, I love her. She's such a sweet person, inside and out, beautiful person, just incredible, and deserves her platform absolutely. And she actually responded to me pretty immediately, and I was offering influencers a free reading in return for like just a testimonial so that their followers could possibly drive some traffic to my website. I'm cutting the chicken right now. It's probably better that you don't see it because it's not pretty. But very quickly, I gave her a reading, and I was nervous about it. And I honestly, to be very honest, I like didn't know too much about Teffy before I reached out to her. I actually found her YouTube channel. I'm not sure if it's still up. She had like basically what she does now on TikTok, like talks about celebrities, but it was like on a set. It was like a production, and it was cute. It's funny. I don't know if it's still up, but that's how I think I found her. And then I just like happened to run across her on TikTok too. And of course, during the pandemic, like everybody was blowing up on TikTok, her included. And I didn't know too much about her as a person. Like I maybe didn't understand like the craze or like the obsession, or maybe didn't even just know that people liked her as much as they do. I just thought she was funny, and like I knew that she was kind of into astrology, so I was like, this is a good match, right? And very kind. She was like, let's do it. I gave her an astrology reading, and I guess, okay, there was kind of like a hiccup, a moment where something weird happened, because there was like something that I kind of noticed within her astrology and her reading that I wasn't too comfortable including, because I didn't want to offend her. It was like a sensitive thing, but I did include it lightly, like very gently. I didn't really like hit the ballpark in how specific I saw something. But I think she admired that I was like honest about it, because I hit the nail on the head, and then I went a little deeper once she kind of gave me the green light. And she was like, let's do this, like let me post the testimonial. And she like stitched a video of mine where I was like gassing up her chart on TikTok. And I went to bed that night, and I woke up and I made about $30,000 that day. Now, with that being said, the reason I include the number and not just say, oh, I made a lot of money, was because it was more than I could mentally handle, because I have grown up maybe like honestly not having more than like a few $100s in my bank account at once, and that was like walking on sunshine to me. Like it was mind-blowing, and it was money that I had always wished for, always tried to manifest, always written down. I actually have an eerie journal entry from literally the day before saying I want $20,000, and I literally got that. But whatever, the money doesn't matter. That's a story for a different day for my girlies who grew up the same way I did and like struggle with financial things, and like it was a big moment for me, okay? That's what you need to know. And it flipped my world upside down, because this was the purchasing of like all that money came from having to do a lot of astrological readings for people, which was amazing, because that was like exactly what I wanted. I got what I wanted, just way more than I expected. And it was a good overwhelming, but it also was a stressful overwhelming that like kind of made me spiral a little bit. Also got COVID that day, like woke up sick, and I think there's a spiritual connection there where like I made a lot of money and my body literally like rejected itself because I was just like incredibly overwhelmed with a lot of emotion, and I feel like it seeped through my pores in the sense of like illness. But because I got sick, even though I was home and stuff, I didn't have to like go anywhere, I automatically had to delay like so many readings. So not only was I completely overwhelmed and everything was going to be late because I had so many, but now I'm sick, and I literally spent the second half of 2021 getting those readings to people, like literally just trying to catch up on myself with those readings. Sorry, I have a sensory problem and my hands can't be completely dry like ever, otherwise it freaks me out. And I just washed my hands from the chicken, so I need to do a little Nivea because I'm not staying here too long. I got this for like $2 at Target, and let me tell you, it's good. It's good. I use it at home. I have a big jar of it at home, but this is good for what I need it to do. So I was catching up on orders all of 2021, second half, even a little bit into 2022. 2022, I was like, new year, my year, big goals, let's go. I'm gonna make more, I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna have the life I want, right? I'm gonna move out, I'm gonna get a car, I'm gonna do all these amazing things. And then something in my personal life, the beginning of 2022, literally January like 8th or something. It's actually interesting that it's been happening on the 8th. So I'm just gonna clean you up really quick. It's a little better. Something happened in my personal life that wasn't my fault, but I didn't know in which way to navigate the situation, and long story short, I was like kicked out of my house. So annoying. Kind of indefinitely, and I like honestly I could start shaking talking about this because I don't even think I've fully processed it yet, because it's literally only September and I only just like kind of came back home in June, and that's actually why I'm here right now. Which that was the whole point. I explained this, I'll get to that in a second. But I was like living out of hotels and was like homeless for the first half of the year with my boyfriend. Nearly impossible to find an apartment, and was dealing, both of us, with so much shit. Like, I'm literally getting nauseous thinking about it, just because it was like so every day. That was like, I thought I've had depression very badly before, and I have, but this was like, I never want to go back to the place that I was at the beginning of this year. Like, I really wanted to fucking off myself so many times, and tried to. I wouldn't say like a direct attempt, but was really like teetering on the edges of sanity. It was bad. Like, I remember literally going up to train tracks at where we were staying currently, and I was talking to the suicide hotline, I was talking to a few other hotlines, and let me tell you, they do not help. And sometimes they even turn you away because they're like, bitch, we're booked and busy. And that's what was happening to me, and that kind of felt like, you know, like it made things worse. But excuse me, yeah, another story for another day. But that kind of bled into the chaos of why I'm ultimately here now, because I didn't want to live back home and reassume the position that I was in prior that led to me getting kicked out. So I kind of like put my stuff down at home and was like, all right, I need to figure something out, because my life cannot look like this anymore, and if things keep continuing the way that they are, they're gonna stay like that, and I'm literally gonna be so unhappy, and I'm gonna disappoint my younger self, and I'm gonna be living a totally different life that I wanted or that I planned for, and I wasn't gonna fucking settle for that, and I'm still not. And I'm learning every day how to make hard choices for my future self and my future marriage, my future kids, and all these things. Oh my god, I'm literally getting emotional, but I'm not gonna cry. anyways, I'm here because my dear friend Kevin, love him to death, has always been incredibly supportive of my success and my happiness and wanting me to do things that I've always said I wanted to do. And I just couldn't really make that happen in Connecticut because of my circumstances. And I think a lot of it too has to do with just family. Like, you don't really get to choose what your environment feels like when you still live at home. And I love Connecticut, I do, and I've learned to appreciate it immensely. I actually literally miss it, like the state itself and the weather and stuff like that. But I get seasonal depression, I get depressed in the winter, and after coming back from this first half of the year that totally warped my sanity and my understanding and concept of time. Like, right now I feel like it's like May, because I literally feel like I shut off the first 6 months of the year. I like honestly don't remember a lot of it, but then I'll remember something and I'm like, that was so fucking bad. But yeah, whatever. I'm here because he needed a roommate. Is someone knocking? I'm scared. Oh my god, you guys are seeing my paranoia on camera. I swear I keep hearing knocking. Maybe it's his cat, I don't fucking know. But I'm scaring myself. Another thing you should know is I have awful anxiety. Actually, I struggle with anxiety sometimes. I don't have it, I struggle with it. I'm working on the power of my words. I'm here because he needed a roommate and I needed to get away. So it was a convenient little window of opportunity where I could kind of month to month feel out California. And I just had never had that thing in me that makes people want to move here. Like, I've never had that, I need to go to LA to make my dreams happen in LA type of thing. Not for any like bad reason. I just feel like for some reason I don't like resonate with this side of the country. Like, I feel like I look like an East Coaster too. Like, I just don't. I love it. I do like it. And I love the desert. I love the weather, obviously. Yeah. Why can I not breathe because of that? But I just had never imagined myself here. But I was like, let me give it a shot. Who knows? Maybe I'll fall in love with it. I honestly am still, I have to be honest, a little bit confused. But it's not a bad confusion. It's a good confusion because I know I have options. And this trial period has been about a month, and I'm probably going to end up coming back just because, you know, why not? And as opposed to choosing to stay at home, I'm probably just gonna, like, if I go home, stay in the same, or find myself in the same position again where I'm just bored and I'm like, what am I doing? I need to figure something out, right? And because of my circumstances, I feel like I haven't even started my life yet. And I know a lot of people feel that way, but it genuinely feels like I'm just now figuring out who I am outside of the bullshit I grew up with and the things that I've been dealing with and my at-home circumstances. So I'm trying to really like not find myself in LA, but learn more about myself and, you know, get in touch with what I want. And even if I don't find the answer here, it's giving me the confidence to kind of navigate the world a little bit more confidently on my own, because I'm very codependent on my boyfriend and my mom. Not in a way where it's like I'm codependent where I'm like, I need to be with you all the time, but that I kind of have only ever had them around me. So I feel naked when I don't have that security, and I'm struggling with learning how to live alone. Not even just physically, but like be in my own head and be in my own thoughts rather than donating my entire existence to trying to solve the problems of other people around me. and it's very foreign. But here we are in Los Angeles, making curry and figuring it out as we go. And yeah, I mean, a little about me. I'm an astrologer, I'm a tarot reader. I'm good at a lot of things, and I'm learning to appreciate that about myself rather than just say, oh no, I'm not. I am. I've tried a lot of different things in my life. And thankfully, something I've been thinking a lot about too, this isn't a new conclusion that I've drawn, but it's just something that I remember and circle back to, and I'm very grateful for. I would not in a million years trade having grown up, you know, poor and fat, seriously, because it really shapes you to be a good person. Maybe not in the most gentle way, but you become very empathetic, or I should say some people become very empathetic. Some people will internalize it and become a martyr and like be the victim of the entire world and think that everybody owes them a favor. And I've definitely had that, maybe not to the extreme, but like I remember being 13, 14, and I grew up in like a wealthier area. Like I had like 2 friends that kind of understood because they had been in the same circumstances, but other than that, and that was like a lot of, I think, accidental trauma bonding. As much as I love them dearly and wish them the best, because I feel like they were sisters and I like had seen them struggle and they've seen me struggle. Outside of those 2 people, like I had friends, and I had friends with a lot of money, and I had friends with a much different situation, and it didn't always feel like a barrier maybe to them, but I felt it, and it made me not hate them. It was never something where I was like, fuck this person. It was, I want to be this person, or like this person doesn't know how lucky they are. And there was times where just in normal circumstances where we'd want to go out and do something, and it just felt like I was always chasing myself, trying to make sure I could figure out how to look or feel normal in a situation where I didn't. Whether that was just going to the fucking diner and getting something to eat and knowing I didn't have cash, so like eating something before I went, and then learning how to be like, I'm not hungry. Like just all these things. I feel like I was jumping through hoops trying to figure out how to be normal. The people around me normal. Not that, and like whatever, it's no one's fault, but that I'm very grateful having grown up that way, because I became so resourceful and figured out how to do so many things in DIY form, to the point where like I feel like I can solve any fucking problem now, and not just in terms of resources, like you know, getting things cheaper or things like that, but rather that I just know, I just feel, it's not even smarter, I don't know the word, it's just like I feel capable of most things that I maybe see other people my age or that have better circumstances than me give up on very quickly. And I think that growing up the way I did, it gave me the advantage of conflict resolution in situations where you truly feel powerless, or where you're like, all odds are against me, but I can still figure it out. And I'm incredibly grateful for that. And because of that, I was like trying oh my god, I can't even recall the amount of different, sorry, this is so loud, like careers. I've tried, everything has pretty much been some form of self-employment. We're doing little baby peppers. I put an onion on there. It was a sweet onion. We're just gonna chop these up. I'll show you on the pan. But I tried so many damn things. I gave tattoos to people when I was still a minor, and they were still a minor, because no one's parents would allow them to get a tattoo, and I made some quick cash off of that. I think I did $25 a pop, and I would do stick and poke. Literally should have made people sign a fucking waiver, but whatever, we were young. That helped. that got some money in my pocket. I remember really liking Forever 21. I don't know when Forever 21 started, but to me it started when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade maybe. And that I became obsessed with Forever 21. And this was back when they had like, I think one of the first things I bought from there was like this gray light crew neck sweater with like Minnie Mouse on it. Like that was their vibe then. And I bought this pearl, obviously fake pearl necklace that had like, so cringy, the like it had like nerd glasses on it because that was the thing at the time. It was nerd glasses and the mustache thing, and I like owned stuff like that. And I really love Forever 21. And something me and my girly pops used to do when we were younger was always go to the mall and go to Forever 21 and then get McDonald's. And that's when I think finances really started to become prominent for me in terms of like, bitch, I need to get it together. Like, this $20 every 3 months from my mom isn't cutting it. So I have reduced lunch, but I would pocket anything my mom gave me. If she gave me like $5 for like a better lunch or something, I just wouldn't. I would just use it for the mall and save it for the mall, or to get ice cream, to do whatever the fuck we were doing that weekend, every weekend. And I feel like I did something else in high school that I'm not remembering, but high school was the most of the victimhood because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was like, this isn't fair. Everybody has their fucking dad's card, or their mom's able to just give them 100 every time it's Friday. Like, it was really starting to like actually stress me the fuck out. And I was like, I need to figure something out, but I didn't figure anything out really until I was a senior. And that's when I did the tattoos. And then I discovered Poshmark, the buying and selling clothes app. And I remember selling a Hollister, which was weird that I even owned Hollister. I'm assuming it was thrifted. There's no way I bought a full sale price Hollister dress. It was like a Hollister beach cover up, navy and white striped like tank top dress. And I put it on Poshmark for, honestly, I think like $14 or something, which is probably pushing it for what it was. And I sold it that night, the night that I put it up, and I remember getting fucking high and being like, there's no way I just made money off of that. Like, it was that easy. And I was crazed. I was crazed with Poshmark. I sold everything I owned on Poshmark. I literally sold everything. And I didn't own nice things, so like at the time, thankfully, because Poshmark was still like kind of new, not new, but you know, not nearly as populated as like buying and selling apps are now. I was pretty early to that game. Things sold pretty quickly just because like moms were shopping for their daughters and stuff like that. And I understood very quickly. I learned how to list things, how to sell things. eBay, Mercari, and then eventually Depop. And I started buying and reselling, so like going to thrift stores, because thankfully at the time, it's very different now, but at the time the thrift stores in my area were like untouched, unless like people who were smart and like knew how to be thrifty would go there. It was embarrassing for me to go there. Let's put it that way, because it's not embarrassing to do that now, obviously. It's like the thing to do. It's like embarrassing to go to the mall, I feel. Not me, just like that's how I feel like that's the consensus now. But I was like humiliated because I only ever went to really Goodwill, and occasionally I'd get something from Forever 21. But $30 at Forever 21 was the big tag, was the thing where I was like, this is too, I can't keep up with this lifestyle. $30 is kind of like triggering to me. Even now I feel like I'm like over $30, not because I can't afford it now, and I've tried to unlearn that by treating myself to pretty much everything I want, as long as it's not like wasteful. But I was like, I gotta figure something out. Started reselling, made a good amount of money off that. I wasn't making like thousands of dollars. I wasn't having this massive success story that you hear a lot of people on the internet have, because I maybe didn't understand the potential of it to that extent. I was just like, oh, this works. It's a system that works. So I'd get like raft tees and flannels and just not overprice them, but like I would get them for probably like $3. So different now. Goodwill's like expensive now, but I would get things for like $3 and then just put it for like 10 or 12 or something, and made a buck off of it. But then at that age I was drinking and I was smoking, so I wasn't being too responsible in terms of saving every penny. I didn't have this like you know, hustle mindset that we see a lot of young guys have now, with like not touching any dollar. Don't get the avocado toast, don't get the Starbucks. I was like spending it on fucking liquor, baby, and weed. But you live and you learn, right? And then all my friends went to college. I was like, what do I do? And I struggled again, but I went to cosmetology school, so I had something to focus on. I'm gonna put the chicken on. Here, let me show you guys what's going on before I keep talking. These are just the, okay, it literally looks disgusting because I was like low-key burning it, but we're gonna put the, oh my god, why can't I think right now, the curry paste on in a little bit. Let's put the chicken in, let me put you right here. But I went to cosmetology school. I loved it. I thought I was in my place. I loved beauty. And I think a lot of times women that struggle with finances growing up turn to beauty because it's low-key a survival method, coping mechanism, in terms of I don't have money, so I should try and be pretty, because that is currency as well. And I really got into makeup and hair towards the end of my senior year. I went to night school because my school experience was a totally different story, but I struggled because I was very sidetracked with things that were happening in my family, my personal life, and it bled into school. And on top of this, I was a funny person. So I didn't really know, I don't think, at the time that I was like going through a lot, but I was joking about everything, so I don't think anybody knew, including like, you know, my mom or whatever, because I was just always like, everything's fine, whatever. But then I like literally wasn't going to school. So I went to night school, and during night school I lost some weight. I started taking care of myself. I got into spirituality back then, crazy to think about. Doing my hair, doing my makeup. Started carrying myself with a little bit more confidence, and was like, let me just go to cosmetology school. Like, I'm already good at this. It's not college, but it's something. And it, you know, I think my parents ultimately were like, you need to do something if you're, you know, whatever. And I didn't have a car, I couldn't drive, couldn't go to work, so I had to do something. And I went to cosmetology school. I fucking loved it. I literally thought that was my be-all, end-all. And looking back, fuck, I don't know where this shut off. But I was talking about going to cosmetology school, and I thought it was my be-all, end-all, and I went to Paul Mitchell. And if you went to Paul Mitchell, maybe it's not like this anymore, but looking back on that shit, it was kind of culty. It was like low-key abusive in terms of finances, and then also crossing over into like religious and faithful boundaries and like a cult mentality in terms of like toxic positivity. But I liked it at the time, and it worked at the time, so I can't complain too much. But I loved it. I struggled with the actual school towards the end because I was like really starting to see the corruption a little bit, but I graduated. No one came to my graduation, which was sad. I actually didn't have a ride home the day I graduated, so I sat in the parking lot until somebody, I remember one of my teachers offering to drive me home. And I was like, no, that's fucking embarrassing. And of course I was laughing, and I was like, ah, like no big deal, even though I was really upset. But I think my brother ended up getting me or something. And because of, again, like more family stuff, I actually thrived. I did amazing at Paul Mitchell, and one of my teachers wanted me to take her job at her salon. She was like, you're so good, you don't need to apprentice somebody. I think you can just jump right in and take my clients. And I got a few other incredible job offers. And I sometimes do wonder what would my life look like if I was able to take those opportunities. But nobody would bring me to these jobs because they were all a little bit far from my house. So I was angry at my family, and I was like, I just went through all this school just for you guys to tell me that you guys will drive me to the local grocery store to get a job, but not get a job that will pay higher for something that I'm good at, that I just graduated from. So I started to get really depressed. I started to get really angry at the world again. And not even angry. I think at that point I was like fucking giving up, honestly. And that fall, I gained a lot of weight, baby. I was sitting at home eating, and I was just sad and watching everyone I went to cosmetology school with get these amazing, incredible jobs, and knowing like, oh my God, maybe I'm more capable than these people. I have more ambition than these people. These people didn't even like it there, and they have a good job. Like, imagine what I could do. So I started, I had a makeshift, and I started doing hair and makeup out of my house. I started having people come over for prom, makeup and hair. I was making people flip their head over my bathroom sink and my bathtub in my house. That was disgusting. Like, we lived in a shitty ass house and it was falling apart, and I could get very emotional thinking about the people that would come over and like not say anything about it. We were just polite and didn't, you know, probably pass a judgment mentally, but we're always very kind and paid and even tipped very well, despite the fact that they were like literally breaking their back in my house. And that worked for a while too, but I think I started to get prideful and ashamed a little bit, and I just was embarrassed. I felt like I'm getting older, and I'm still in this shitty position. Like, what do I do? Because the thing is, and maybe a lot of people don't talk about this, but when you don't have money, when you make a little bit, it's not that you're spending it. A lot of people, I think, that have money and see people that don't have money buy things, in their head they're like, this is irresponsible that they're not saving their money. They're buying like clothes, they're doing all these responsible things. But again, it was this like chase to be normal. Like, I didn't have clothes that fit me correctly. I didn't have clothes that weren't second-handed. I was very self-conscious because I'm self-conscious about my weight. So I'm self-conscious about my clothes. And when I would make a little bit of money, I would slowly try to rebuild my closet to look normal, like to look like my friends, and just to have something that wasn't like fucking, you know, passed down a million generations, or like from Goodwill that had a hole in it and shit like that. And I just, again, I'm still learning how to stop feeling like I'm catching up to something. I'm really like, it's something I've always struggled with. But I did that for a little while, and then what happened with this? I tried to like get a sugar daddy. Okay, I was 18 and I was trying to just get some fucking money. I was like, fuck it. I see people do this, and I wasn't gonna meet anybody or anything like that. I wasn't gonna like go on a date, but I had seen like something, maybe a YouTube video or something, where I was like, oh, it's possible. There's a possibility that I can make money from my house from people I don't know, whether it's through the vessel of pretending to be somebody else or to just act like I'm gonna meet them. Hi, this is the curry paste I'm using. I'll show you guys the end result later. But yeah, I just was like, there's a possibility here. Maybe I can make something happen, right? And I made a seeking arrangements account, and I think I went on Craigslist too, honestly, and maybe like looked up what was over there. And I came across somebody who's like a writer, and he was so pretentious. I didn't have to see him. I like literally we communicated it over email. And he wanted a muse, a naked girl. No, he just wanted like he was very, you can tell this person like lived in a fantasy. That was the main thing. This doesn't look good. This is coconut cream. Oh my god, I'm literally gonna slice my finger off. Okay, guys. I've seen it chunky before. That's not my issue. It's like gray. Guess we'll see if I fucking throw up on cam. But I'm sorry, what was I saying? He wanted a muse, right? And whatever the fuck that meant, and I was just saying yes to anything because I was like, I need money, and this seems like a good hack. I feel like I've come on to something lucrative. And this guy would send poems about me and what he thought I looked like, which is like funny looking back on, because like, what? And I'm pretty sure he had a girlfriend. If I found out my boyfriend was looking for a muse on Craigslist, I'd literally off him. But okay, I'm being so annoying, I'm sorry. So we would email back and forth, and he would pay me like $20-something per little poem he would write, and just ask me what I thought about it, and I would just literally romanticize him back to shut him up. And that's something that I learned about men over the years. I'm like half joking, but sometimes they just want to hear themselves talk, and they want to feel like they're saying something fucking incredible and groundbreaking. And I could tell very immediately that that's what was going on with this guy. And I was like, whatever, it's no fucking skin off my back. I'm literally only gaining something from it. So I went along with it, and eventually I stopped answering because I think maybe he like wasn't holding up his end of the deal anymore or something. And I was like, bro, I'm not here to listen to your fucking poetry. I thought we knew that. But of course, again, men fall for fantasies a lot, and I think he just started to think, oh my god, she really likes me, or whatever. But I wasn't getting anything from it anymore, so I stopped answering, and that was the end of that. And he like emailed me years later too, and I'm like, oh my god, literally, like, men are so scary. Like, how is this even, I forgot about it, and then I was like, how are you still thinking about this? But so after that, I went to a New Year's party that my friend Kenzie invited me to, and I wasn't gonna go because I thought it was like an all girlies thing. It was like, I thought it was like just a sleepover with her girls from college who I liked but wasn't like super close with at the time. And I just felt like I was gonna get dressed up for no reason, and like I was depressed, so I was like, I don't think this is gonna be worth getting dressed up for or whatever. But I was like, let me go and just have a good time. And I met my now boyfriend. It's a loose term. Now boyfriend of like 5 years there. And I remember, I don't want to gas him, but I remember Kenzie showed me like a video of him, or a picture of him, like a few days before New Year's. And she was like, yeah, this is him. Kayla, don't get excited though. You can't talk to him. If you see him there, you can't talk to him. I was like, oh my god. Because also, I wasn't into boys growing up. Like, I was always the friend of like little whores that I dated. I'm joking, I'm not actually saying whores, but like I always had a bestie that was like very caught up with boys, always dating someone, always getting over someone, always hooking up with somebody. Whether it was one person or another, I always kind of had this little promiscuous sidekick, and I loved it. I still love it. I love a good hoe bestie. And because of that, I think I kind of lived vicariously through them. And I also just was never really too interested in the people at my school growing up, and a lot of that had to do with, I think, feeling alienated and just feeling like I don't fit in with these people, and also like low-key feeling bullied just by being in the same room as them, because it was clear that I just like wasn't fitting in the same way or as easily as other people. And again, like I was weird and funny and like would try to use humor to mask a lot of things, and just prioritize making my friends laugh, and I don't regret that, because like I'm actually like, if I dated somebody in high school or had sex with somebody in high school, I know I would have regretted it. So I'm glad it didn't happen, especially just out of pressure. But what was I saying? Oh, like I'd never really been into guys like that. I literally just choked on my own spit. So I wasn't worried that this person, I look awful, no I don't, was gonna blow me away. And I was like kind of half joking, I was just like, he's cute, because he didn't look like anybody that I grew up with, and it was like exciting, and I was like, he is cute, he's my type of guy. And I didn't have experience with guys really. I'd hooked up with somebody, like honestly I think maybe two people like prior to him, and those were all embarrassing and stupid anyway. So when I went to this New Year's party, I knew he was going, and I think he decided to come last minute too. We both were like, we're not going to that shit, and he was there, I was there. And I was being so cringy that night. Like, oh my god, I was being so cringy. And I was like love struck by this man. It actually makes me so angry looking back, because he was attracted to me and like he was being flirty with me, but also like it literally should have been the other way around. Like I cannot believe I also like just didn't know how to handle drinking at the time either. And I'm like embarrassed that, I think that was the first time I had tequila too. And I think that goes without saying what that means. Like I was just being crazy. And yeah, I didn't have any intentions of speaking to him after though, because the next day I was like embarrassed. I was like, oh my god, this whole thing's fucking stupid, like, you know. But I'm not gonna say what he said to me on Instagram the next day, because he gets so embarrassed, and I know if he ever saw this he would literally kill himself. It wasn't even that bad, but he was just like, you know, when you're dating someone for a long time and you look back on like how they hit on you, you're like, oh my god, that was your game, like what the fuck. And that's kind of like why it's kind of cringy looking back. But I talked to him for a few months, and because this was my first ever like serious person that I was legitimately interested in, he became my entire focus and my entire world. And I literally forgot about money. I didn't forget about them, because I was still doing things for money. I started like sewing my own clothes. I wanted to start selling lingerie. I think I was selling paintings still at the time. I was doing a few little odd jobs here and there, but I started losing my focus was the issue. And we hung out a few times. He was still being like a little whore, I think. And so we like kind of cut it off around fall of that year or something. And then I just did my own thing entirely. Like, never thought I was going to speak to him again. And in that time period, I came across something similar to this Craigslist guy, which was along the lines of like financial domination. And I didn't seek it out, because I was also very depressed when him and I stopped talking. Not just because of him, but because we stopped talking, and then I remembered, oh my god, I'm also broke. I'm also like, I don't know what I'm doing, like what the fuck is wrong, what's going on in my life, right? And I didn't know how to keep my priorities straight, so I was depressed. All my friends went back to school after the summer, and I was like, Kayla, bro, you're in the same spot. What are you gonna do? And I got a DM on Twitter from somebody, I forgot their name, but they were like, I think they said like, what's your email or something? Can I send you like $50? And I was shook as a book, because I was like, oh my god, 50? That was like life-changing literally at the time. And when you struggle with money, and then you also don't know what financial domination is, and somebody says, can I send you money? You're like, oh no. You're like, that would be mean of me. Like, I'm too nice for that. That's too sweet. I can't accept that. I've learned since then to never say things like that. But So I accepted. That man sent me $50 and I was introduced to a new world of similar experiences, and the money just kept going up and it kept going up, and I made thousands and thousands of dollars, and my life changed, and I was able to do things and access things and buy things for myself that had not even seemed realistic for me prior. So that was the first time I was introduced to larger sums of money than my peers at one time. And I, back then, was too scared to really touch it. I was still very cheap. I was still, you know, I didn't ball out and like start buying designer like other girls in that world did. I felt the pressure to, but I knew ultimately it would be a silly choice to, I've always known it's a silly choice to go broke trying to look rich. And that's like one of my number one rules, is to not do that. So I didn't know how to invest at the time, and this is a big fucking regret, because I was accepting payments through Bitcoin, through Coinbase, through crypto, and Bitcoin at the time, I want to say this was like 2017, 18, was at like one of its lowest. It was at like 6,000. And instead of keeping money in Bitcoin, like when I would get it wired to me, I would just transfer it out. And I think I kept it in there once because I think the person sending it to me was like, no, you should keep it here and like watch it grow. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. And obviously with the market, with crypto, like you see it fluctuate every few seconds. And I think I like panicked, watching it for like more than 5 minutes, like maybe go down $3 from the sum of money that they sent me. And I was like, oh, fuck this shit. Like, I'm not even gonna risk it. So dumb. And I could have made so much fucking money, bro. But I didn't. But I spent a lot of it. I vacationed a lot. I spent a lot of time with Kevin, who I live with now. This is the curry so far. I don't know. I kind of like this texture. I hope this doesn't look gross to everybody. Maybe I'll make it a little bit thinner. We'll see. I turned the heat off, though. It smells delicious. But yeah, so I spent a lot of that money and I kind of ran through it, and then me and the same boyfriend that I met at New Year's started talking again. And what do you know, lesson number 2 from the universe, don't fuck it up again. And I did, and I got distracted, and I was actually getting into Amazon FBA at the time. And if you've ever fallen into hustle culture, anything entrepreneurship, especially on the more masculine side of things, that aren't like boutiques and aren't like maybe super girly like nail businesses, hair businesses, I was falling more into e-commerce, which at the time was like dominated by men, mostly, at least from what I was seeing. So I bought a course. Would never, I shouldn't say I would never do that now. I would buy another course, I have. But for Amazon, like, you gotta be careful. I do think I lucked out though with the person that I invested in. I don't know, you guys tell me, Dan Voss. I trusted him, I thought he was intelligent. And his course was actually incredibly helpful. Like, it was very thorough. I don't think he was a scammer. I don't know if he is now, but at the time, it felt like a good investment to me. It was $500, and I was just getting my Amazon thing off the ground. And another big regret is that I had gotten so distracted with my boyfriend that I didn't end up launching a product that I was going to open my storefront with. And I had done so much product research on which not industry, but like which, you know, niche I wanted to go into. I was battling between a baby niche, just because it's not going anywhere, it never will. And I think it was like these gifted animal towels with hoods for children, and they were doing incredible. So I was like, all right, I might do this. And I had the brand name, I had the logo, I had all these things set up. And then the other competing product that I wanted to start was a trendier one, which you're not typically supposed to shoot for trends unless you're able to really catch it beforehand. And bro, one of my biggest regrets in this life, the product was a jade roller, and this was like 2017, 18. and I think another one might have been the fidget spinner, but that had already kind of came and went. But that jade roller, I cannot believe the amount of money I would have if I just stuck to my guns, but I didn't, and I got distracted with my boyfriend, and that was a fucking mess for a while, and went through some more personal stuff, started an online boutique with the knowledge that I had from Amazon, tried to pick myself back up. I blew away all my money, if that wasn't clear. $0. And I had to start from scratch all over again. So I started an online boutique. It kind of worked. And I was like, let me try and get a real job for once now that I have a boyfriend who can drive me to a job. So my friends got me a receptionist position at a tanning salon, and I was there for probably like 6 months, and I loved it because I'm a pale girl. I'm very pale, and I self-tan a lot. So it was kind of convenient that I had a job that would pay for that, or supply that thing of mine that I liked, that I would no longer have to pay for since I worked there. And I was able to make money, and I have never worked or would ever work a job with a fixed hourly pay. I strongly believe you should be able to determine, at least to a certain extent, the amount of income that you make. And there was the opportunity to make commission there, and that's where I fucking killed it. I loved that I could make commission there. And I would walk away with a good, I mean, I was there part-time. It was just to like get money in my bank account and feel not so panicked and insecure financially. And I was only probably making like literally $150 a week or something. And then my monthly commission check was probably like $250. And then I got involved in an MLM, and that's a whole nother thing. I fell victim to that, I think, through hustle culture and through this mentality of like, you need to get rich, you need to save your family, you need to get security for yourself or you're gonna die. And I still am unlearning that as well. And then I got out of the MLM. I started a lip gloss business. That was my first business that I was very proud of, and I'm still very proud of, and it did incredible. I have a self-sabotage problem, which I'm learning now to reconcile with, because the lip gloss brand really could have taken off. I really feel like I could have gotten it in stores. And then everybody started making lip gloss. Everybody and their mother on TikTok and stuff like that started making lip gloss. And I feel like maybe it doesn't resonate with me too much anymore. I do miss it sometimes, and I do want to go back to it, but other people do it better. And I feel like my heart maybe isn't in that same place anymore. If I ever did it again, I would want to do it right though, and like pay people to have jobs to be able to do it, rather than me just being a one-woman show, because it was very stressful, but it was very rewarding as well. But I was like totally disorganized with like profit margins and, you know, resupplying things, and I was trying to work with a manufacturer, and it went down the drain, and I just gave up entirely when I should have just kept it pushing. We're coming up on 2020. I quit the MLM. I've completely demolished my lip gloss business down the drain. What do I do now? And I was doing social media management, and then also doing like business marketing for social media. Those two things were actually very successful as well, but they were very high stress because it was client work and a lot of virtual assistants, and kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Why can I not think of the word? Outsourcing a lot of things for businesses and for influencers. And I was like, I want to be on the other end of this. Like, I don't want to be on this side, the boring side. It was fun. I loved like strategy calls and stuff like that, because I could be creative with like branding and stuff and marketing and like their tactics for their business. I loved that part, and I even love like bantering with people about that just in conversation. But I was getting paid for it, which was good, but I was just like, I kept, anytime something would go well, I would just quit. And I'm learning to not do that. But I was like, you know, I'm good at astrology. I've always been interested in astrology. I've been interested in tarot for how many years now? Why don't I just become an expert? Like, why don't I just understand it more to the point where I can actually like have a skill and monetize it and not feel like I'm just chasing the next thing to make money and actually create a sustainable business. And I did. I mean, excuse me. I've known how to do astrology for like 10 years. I didn't understand, or I didn't know enough. I wasn't well versed in like a lot of the details of actual charts and transits. That was where I would start to get lost. But I just really dug my feet into the ground and committed to learning. And I spent all of 2020 and all of 2021, and still now it's like extended education. You don't ever know all of it, but those 2 years were dedicated to like sitting down and reading every single thing I could ever read about astrology and just practicing person after person and really being able to call myself an expert and a professional and studying it relentlessly. And I started charging my tarot readings for $3. And it's so funny looking back because I think my lowest tarot reading is $30 now. And I would it was very different. Like the way I had it systematically set up was very different from how it is now, but I wasn't getting a lot of orders, so there was no pressure to like have a system. And boy, when people tell you to manifest and act as if, you gotta act as if, because when it does happen and you're not acting like it already happened, you will be stressed. And that's what happened to me. I didn't have systems in place to know how to handle that many people wanting to work with me. Amazing. And now here I am a year later from that moment of making a lot of money from readings, and I'm just now being able to branch out into how I want my business to look, and I'm still figuring it out and getting more into like content creation, restarting my podcast here, learning about myself, getting in touch with myself, figuring out who I am, what I actually want outside of this relentless pursuit of being successful. Now that I have the stability that I've always wished for, and the accessibility I've always wished for, and the freedom I've always wished for, and I actually can't believe I can just fly somewhere and go somewhere and not even have to think twice about like buying an expensive water bottle from the airport, because that alone would have kept me up 3 nights before a trip just a year or two ago. So my life looks very different now, and I'm so grateful for it. I do feel lost, but I'm figuring it out, and you know, it's just part of the journey. And I think I want to try and take you guys with me. Oh shit, what's going on? Because I remember watching YouTubers growing up, and that's what made me have big goals and have big dreams and have these big life wishes that I wanted, because I watched so many of my favorite creators get them, and recording it, and I think watching it back is the most beautiful thing ever. Excuse me. And I've always been a camera girl, like since I was very young. I think the first time I really started doing it all the time was in middle school. In 7th grade, I would take my Acer laptop to school and hold it this way, the laptop, like facing other people, so that the webcam could film them, and I'd film at school and make, you know, people say funny things, catch funny moments on camera, and go home and edit it on was it called Movie Maker? It wasn't Apple, it was Acer, and I think it was called Movie Maker. But oh my god, and I would like put them on Vimeo, I think. And funny story too, if you guys remember stop motion videos on YouTube, I was like an OG YouTuber, both a watcher and a maker, creator. And when people would make stop motion videos to music, where it would be like a frame of a photo to a word, and it was a stop motion, I didn't know how to do that. and I used to manually press play on my radio to play a song and stop, like record and stop the video on my laptop at the same time. Guys, I didn't know you could just edit the song over it. So it'd take me actually days to make a stop motion video, and then it wouldn't even be cohesive. You live and you learn. But yeah, I'm taking this camera with me everywhere. And if this was a few years ago when I had nothing else going on, I probably would have gotten the knowledge, the wake-up call, the creativity to have been filming since I got here. But now that I actually have a job and work, I miss those fleeting moments of creativity. So when I get them now, I try to take advantage of them because I want to stay in touch with that old version of myself. And here we are. So I need to show you guys the curry. I'm a little self-conscious right now. I need to show you guys the curry I made because it's gonna be delish. I made it the other day. So this was like this was so good, I gotta make it again thing. I love cooking too. I've always wanted a cooking show. Maybe one day. But yeah, so I'm here in LA doing a trial run. I go home in about a week to make some decisions, see if I want to come back. And life's just crazy. Like, this year is so much different than I ever could have imagined it to ever fucking be, and I never thought I would be on the track that I'm on. But this is the curry. It's literally not focused and it looks so disgusting. I'm sorry. My God. Not a good end result, but thank you guys for listening. If anyone even watched this, it's probably gonna be something for me just to look back on as a capsule. I have a few videos like that on my channel. But I planned a little psychic predictions, yearly astrological predictions video that I'm gonna try and post later this week. And then again, I'm relaunching my podcast. So if you guys like hearing me speak, you'll hear a lot in there because I sometimes don't know how to stop talking on my podcast. But I'm very grateful. I'm curious to see where I end up even next month or by the end of the year. I'm excited for myself. I'm proud of myself. I think I've prevailed through a lot of things that would destroy a lot of other people. And I think I'm handling and have handled and continue to handle really unfortunate things with grace and faith. And I think I am maybe confusing my younger self. If I had my 8-year-old self in front of me, I think she would be like, what? But I think I'm making her proud in terms of my recent decision making and putting myself first, and despite the dysfunction, like leaning into what feels good. But I do think she'd be like, you're an astrologer? Because ever since I was younger, I wanted to be a witch so bad. Before witch talk, before social media, before people wanted to be into that, I had a witchery book and an apprenticeship book, and I had an altar, and I worried my parents a lot. They were scared of me and scared of what I was doing in my bedroom and scared that I was hexing people. Probably should have hexed a few. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I'm trying to make myself proud, and I'm trying to impress my future children to be like, bro, you're a badass. You did that shit? That's so scary, and you got through that? And I should be doing it for myself, but I don't know. I always imagine these future children and being like, your mom's a fucking badass bitch. Respect me. But I'm learning how to do it for myself. Thanks for listening, whoever listened. Thanks for watching. I'm excited to see where I go, and I'll try to take you with me. Subscribe to my Patreon, my YouTube, my social media will be in the bio. I'm happy to give anybody a tarot reading or an astrology reading. Yeah, love you.